And even with this compelling science that came from this Arctic climate impact assessment, we continue to have these global challenges with many governments, including and especially the United States of America. And as well as Canada now with the new government, we are having even more challenges when it comes to these issues. And so even with the knowledge that governments have and still not act with a sense of urgency, at the time when I was chair of ICC, my term just ended in July, I'm taking a breather to write a book and spend some time with my grandson, who's now learning with his father to be a great hunter. He got his first bearded seal this summer. It was a big deal. I took the route at the time to look at international human rights regimes that are in place to protect peoples from cultural extinction, the very thing that we are now challenged with in the Arctic as we are faced with climate change. And the question always is, how can we bring some clarity and focus and purpose to a debate that always seems to be caught up in technical arguments and competing short-term economic ideologies? And I believed strongly at the time, and I still do, that it would be internationally significant if global climate change were debated and examined in the arena of human rights, an arena that many countries say, particularly those in the development world, take seriously. So after 2 years of preparation with really strong people who felt this was the right thing, and a legal team, I and 62 other Inuit from Canada and Alaska filed a petition, not just one that you sign your name, but a legal complaint that we took a lot of time to prepare. And we launched this in December 7, 2005, just this last winter, as we concluded that the 1948 American Declaration on the Rights and Duties of Man, supported by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, may provide an effective means for us to defend our culture and our way of life. And what we're doing here is we're not asking necessarily for the world to take a complete economic backward step, but what we're saying to the governments is you must develop your economies using appropriate technologies that limit the pollution, that limit the greenhouse gases that are at the root of what is happening in the Arctic and the melting of the glaciers and the ice and the snow. And we, Inuit and other northerners, of course, because we're at peril, because governments are taking a short-term view that is favored by many businesses. In fact, what we are doing here is we are defending our right to culture, our right to lands traditionally used and occupied, our right to health, our right to physical security, our right to our own means of subsistence, and our right to residence and movement. And as our culture, again, as I say, is based on the cold, the ice, and snow, we are in essence defending our right to be cold. And we do not wish to become a footnote in the history of globalization, because the predictions are stark. We may lose what I had as a child, and that has given me the foundation upon which I do this work. My grandson may lose in his lifetime. So this is very much an issue of children, families, communities. And as we're just coming out the other side of modernization, here comes this second wave. And this second wave, I fear, is going to be even more challenging. So it's very real here. And we have lived in the Arctic for millennia, and our culture and our economy reflects the land and all that it gives, and we are connected to our land, to our ice, and to our snow. We want it to be cold. And our understanding of who we are and our age-old knowledge and wisdom comes from the land. And it is that struggle, and you all, I know, relate to this so well, to thrive in that kind of environment that gives us the answers. Always it gives us the answers that we need to survive in the modern world. Our young people who are making it are the ones that are spending as much time as they can out there hunting and fishing and taking in what our elders are giving them. And it is that outlook, that respectful human outlook, that sees connection to everything that should be informing the debate on climate change, as these monumental changes absolutely threatens the memory of who we were, who we are, and all that we wish to become. And so we Inuit, and certainly many Indigenous peoples from around the world and in the North, remain very connected with each other and with the land. And I always ask the question to the global community, is it not to reestablish that connection that we are all here trying to deal with this issue? Is it not because people have lost that connection between themselves and their neighbors, between their actions and the environment, that we are debating this issue of climate change in the first place? So I think by putting the climate change in the arena of human rights, we have moved the focus from solely being that of a political, economic, and technical issue to human impacts and consequences that do affect our children, our families, and our communities. And we must remain vigilant in keeping climate change as a human and human rights issue. And as I said earlier, Tom and I work together with other Indigenous peoples around the world to deal with this toxin issue that ends up in our bodies. And we were fairly effective and influential. In fact, we were able to exert influence well beyond our numbers as a people. Out of all proportion to our numbers, we were able to influence the global community. And I know that we can do the same in this issue of climate change, as well as many other issues. So I am not sure how that will go in terms of our petition that's already in the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights that is based in Washington, D.C. It's hard to gauge at this time, although some early indication may be that it might not go in our favor. But I think it's really, really important that we as Indigenous peoples and the global community who understand this issue for what it is as a human and human rights issue continue to support that movement and that way, because if we can connect and unify, not only today in this room, but around the world, we can certainly keep this as a human rights issue. And together, I think we can keep this issue on the map. So please, I was hoping, because I'm a person that really doesn't like structure, I was really hoping to finish before the bell rang, but it's pretty close. So thank you.